Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV, the Eau de Vie edition. Today is day 23 of the Costco Wine Advent Box. This is the penultimate wine, so I dressed up for it. It's down here in this very empty box, and it's right here, number 23. Okay, what do we have? It's a white Sauvignon Blanc from Spain. Many years ago, when my father lived in Chile, the South American country on the Pacific coast, I would go visit him at Christmas time. And of course, Southern Hemisphere Christmases are not like Northern Hemisphere Christmases. In Christmas in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the height of summer. Here today, it's dark, cold, snowy. I like Northern Hemisphere Christmases more because, well, I like that cozy feeling, but I never really was disappointed either when we went to Chile for Christmas and could spend a week on the beach at Valparaiso. Anyway, back to the wine. When my dad lived in Chile, you could buy oysters on the half shell at the local market for really cheap. You could get like 100 oysters for $5. This is a long time ago, last century. At that time, Chile's wine wasn't really well known, and they were making a lot of really inexpensive wine for pretty much just domestic consumption. They made Sauvignon Blanc. We would eat oysters on the half shell and drink bottles of Sauvignon Blanc, and that would be our dinner. You could eat about 2 dozen of those, and then, whew, you felt a little bit funny. Anyway, that was my first impression of Sauvignon Blanc, and the Chileans still make very good Sauvignon Blanc. Fast forward many years into the 2000s, and I started to become aware of a place called Sancerre, which was in the Loire River Valley, and in Sancerre they make some of the best Sauvignon Blanc on the planet. Right next to Sancerre is the Canal Lateral à la Loire, and you can stop in Sancerre on your boat, and you can go to a winery. You can go to the Eric Louis winery and visit the winery and have Sancerre walking distance from the boat, which is fantastic. So Sauvignon Blanc in France is expressed a little bit different than it is in Chile, and in Chile it's New World style, it's fruit forward, and it's fresh and crisp and refreshing, where in France it's Old World style. It's more subdued, a little more herbal, a little more grass, and much higher acid. A number of years ago, back in the early 2000s, the New Zealanders started making Sauvignon Blanc with this real crisp lime expression, a kind of a hybrid between that soft fruit forward Sauvignon Blancs that they were making in Chile and that crisp, high acid expression that they were making in France. The New Zealanders put those two things together, and you got fruit forward, high acid wines, which became immediately very popular. Now, our wine today, Sauvignon Blanc from Spain. This is just an international variety. Sauvignon Blanc is one of the noble grapes. It can move around Chile, New Zealand, France, Spain, and express itself differently in each one of those areas. In California, they make excellent New World style Sauvignon Blancs, and the key aroma there, generally out of the Napa region, is grapefruit. Yeah, a wonderful, intense grapefruit aroma. Or they experiment. They take Sauvignon Blanc and they put it into oak barrels and they make Fumé Blanc. That was Mondavi's expression, his idea. Or in Bordeaux, you can take Sauvignon Blanc, blend it with Semillon, put it in an oak barrel, and make a white Bordeaux, otherwise known as a Graves. Sauvignon Blanc really can change its expression. It's worth learning the grape if you like white wines, if you want crisp, tart, food-friendly wines that go great with cheese, get the French ones. If you want New World, a little bit softer, fruit-forward Sauvignon Blancs, go with the Chileans. If you want a fusion of New World, Old World crispness, fruit, and acidity meeting, go with the New Zealanders. And if you want to experiment, if you want to see how Sauvignon Blanc can be a little bit different, what the influence of oak is going to have, go with the Californians. Or if you want Sauvignon Blanc blended with another type, go with the French and Bordeaux. Okay, let's go into this bottle and see what style, what way, and how the Spanish made it for us today. I can't say I've always been a fan of Sauvignon Blanc. One of the first Sancerres I ever had was terrible. It was like drinking crushed glass. Oh, it was so acidic, so tart, and so bland, I didn't really like it. And now I know why. Well, one was it was too old, and two, it was too cold. Yeah. Sauvignon Blancs are not particularly age-worthy, just a few years. Generally, if you're not trying to think about vintage, which you shouldn't, at this point in your wine education, in your wine career, unless you're a connoisseur, unless you really know what you're doing, just forget about vintage dates because they don't really matter. Here are the few things you need to know about vintage with Sauvignon Blanc. Buy the youngest one you can find. Old ones do not equal quality. Okay? These wines will bland out at age. And they will bland out and crisp up at temperature. Meaning, if you get them too cold, if you pull this right out of the refrigerator, it's too cold and it's going to be crisp, high acid, and bland. Yuck. Nobody wants that. This one is 58 degrees. What's the best temperature for all wines? 55. 58, maybe slightly too warm for this. You could put a little more coolness on it, but if I stuck it in an ice bucket for 3 minutes, it'd probably be down into the low 40s, and that would be fine. By the way, I haven't really mentioned it yet, but stemware plays a purpose in this. A glass has a stem and a bowl for a reason. The stem is a thermocoupler. It keeps your hot hands from warming up the wine. Or if the wine is too cold, your hot hands can warm up the wine by cupping the glass. Plus, stem is so elegant. How do you swirl if you don't have a stem? You can't. Anyway, that's the purpose of a wine glass. There is thought to all of this process. All right, I have filled out the top of my tasting card. I've only got 2 slots left today, tomorrow, and that's it. Whew. All right. If I was looking just at the bottle and I was at a blind taste test trying to guess what the wine is, I would not guess Sauvignon Blanc because it's a little bit yellowy. Let's see how it is in the glass. Sauvignon Blanc should be light yellow, pale yellow, even a touch of green. What do you think that color is? That looks yellow to me. Now, if I was trying to make an argument for, well, this is this in this glass because of these reasons, that's what wine educators and scholars try to do to each other. Tell me what do you think this is, and then they tell you why because of various parameters. I would look at this, and if it smells like Sauvignon Blanc and it's got this color, I'd say maybe it's an oaked Sauvignon Blanc, especially if I got vanilla tones. Those are all guesses, but it helps you break apart this process and really think about the wine. Okay, so we've got medium yellow. This classic Chardonnay look to me. Let's see how it smells. I get peaches, stone fruit, nectarines, no citrus here. It's not overly aromatic. Sauvignon Blanc should be quite aromatic wine. Not overly aromatic. I did get peaches, so I'll write that down. And I will give it a 6. Okay, let's taste it. It's dry. It's medium full-bodied. The acidity, what will I say? I'll say fresh. It's not particularly acidic. There is a touch of sweetness to the wine, just a little hint, and that fuller body. I would be completely perplexed at a blind taste test if someone said this is Sauvignon Blanc. I would say no way, really? But again, this is Spanish Sauvignon Blanc. Where can you find Spanish Sauvignon Blanc? I'm not sure. Probably just the Costco Wine Box. Okay, so a score for acidity. I'm going to give it a 5. I do feel it on either side of my tongues, but it's not a bright expression. It's not lifting the wine in any way. The balance, it's good. No burn, so the acid's fine. The alcohols are fine, and the sugars are present, but they're good. So I'll give it an 8. Complexity. It's quaffable. You know, if I got served this at a friend's house, or if I even served it to myself, I would just drink it. There's not a lot of interesting things going on here. If I paid $7.99 for this bottle, I think, okay, that's fair. So, some flavors, 5. Finish and length. It's got a good finish. The finish is probably one of the best things about this wine, actually. It's a medium long finish. It's nice. I'll give it an 8. All right. I'm going to go do my math. Okay, here are my scores for our Spanish Sauvignon Blanc, our penultimate wine for 2022 anyway. Aroma, 6. Acidity, 5. Balance, 8. Complexity, 5. Finish and length, 8. 32 points, add that to 50, and you've got 82 points. Sauvignon Blanc is easier to grow, make, export, manage. It's got a little less brand recognition than Pinot Noir. It's less finicky than Pinot Noir, but it's still made everywhere. Everybody's making it just like Pinot Noir. It can suffer at the lower ends of the price points, at the $4, $5, $6, $7 points. You get a wine like this. At the $15 point, that's probably the sweet spot in the market at the moment. $20 should really perform. You should really get something for that. And if you're buying $40 Sauvignon Blanc, then you are probably overpaying unless you're buying from a exceptionally well-known producer, and it's an exceptional wine. I mean exceptional. We should be getting 95 points or more at that price point. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. And until tomorrow, until the last day, day 24, I say à toute l'heure and cheers.
Hello. Okay, Sauvignon Blanc. I don't really smell grapefruit. I feel like that's my number one hint. I almost smell, I think I'm getting a hint off of this bottle with that shell because I almost feel like I'm smelling like a little bit of limestoney sort of a scent. Let me try it. It doesn't seem like a Sauvignon Blanc that I would have had normally. It seems to have higher acid, but it has kind of a bigger mouthfeel. It's fine. You know, it'll go good with lunch. Cheers.